The scariest part of prefectship is standing up here today. I will speak, and you will sit and judge what I have to say. And that's actually not really how I want to do this today. So with all due respect, I would now like to welcome students, faculty, and guests to the chapel, though for most of you, you didn't have a choice. You don't have to listen. You could just tune out my voice if you want. All I can do is ask that you don't. By a show of hands, how many of you would call yourself a leader? Okay, yeah, maybe a few. Maybe the rest are shy. Okay, let's try something new. How many of you, by a show of hands, have ever done anything ever that made someone else's life better? Whatsoever. Or ever worked together with anyone ever? Really? Never? I should see every single hand up. So what's the difference? Because people watch you, and you affect what others do. And if you make someone else want to be a better person, then surprise, you did it. You're a leader. See, we've been led to believe that you can only be a leader if you can talk in front of a crowd, or run a club meeting, or wear a C on your hockey jersey, or a pin on your cadet sweater, or a white blazer. And sure, those people are leaders if they inspire others to be better. Now, how many of you have ever heard of a lollipop moment? Yeah, okay, maybe a couple. For those of you who do, there was a man by the name of Drew Dudley who told a story once at a TEDx conference. He told a story about a time when a girl came up to him and told him that he had changed her life. She told him the story of her very first day at university. She was so nervous. She was ready to give up. She was ready to go home and give up on university. And he gave her a lollipop. And with that small act of kindness, she decided not to give up. She decided not to go home. That small act of kindness changed her life. And he didn't know that he had done that for her. He said, "We have made leadership into something bigger than us. We've made it into something beyond us. We've made it about changing the world. And we've taken this title of leader and we treat it as if it's something that one day we're going to deserve, but to give it to ourselves right now requires a level of arrogance and cockiness that we're not comfortable with." Arrogance and cockiness. It really worries me that there are leaders sitting in front of me right now, leaders that I'm looking at, that don't know that they're leaders because of a fear of arrogance and cockiness. And so, I'm going to need your guys' help to tell them that they are. Because I have this journal, and in my journal, sometimes I'll write about things that people have done, really amazing things, without really realizing that they've done it. For example, Zach Coe. Last year, during sports day, you stayed for nearly half an hour and cleaned up the trash that everyone else left behind, and you weren't even asked. That is an act of leadership. Daniel Efrat, during the Earth Week Kahoot night last spring, you got so into it. And your positive energy affected the attitude of everyone else in the room. It was infectious. And that event would not have gone as well as it did if you weren't there. That is an act of leadership. Elvis Odunze. On April 25th, Earth Day, in biology class, we were talking about climate change, and I lost my faith in humanity and in the future for a second, and I started to cry in the middle of bio class, and it was disheartening, and it was embarrassing, and even though you couldn't do anything for me at the time, you told my friends so that I had the support I needed to feel better, and that's an act of leadership. Daniel Caliscan, you first introduced yourself to me in the line in the dining hall when you were in grade 8, And since then, you have said hi to me and greeted me by name every single time you see me. And that makes me feel really good about myself, and that is an act of leadership. Katerina Swelter. Last spring, I lent Kat a backpack. Does anyone know why? Actually, I know that none of you know why, because she's so humble that she didn't tell anyone that her little brother broke his backpack. So she gave him hers. And she didn't have a backpack at all. She carried her books in a plastic bag for a couple of days. She didn't even hesitate. You reminded me that I need to be better to the people that I love. You reminded me that I need to be better, and that is an act of leadership. And just because I don't have moments like that with all of you, doesn't mean that you don't have those moments. In fact, I can promise all of you that you do. See, the trait that I find most frustrating in people is apathy. See, people who are passionately and wholeheartedly against what I believe in, see, I can deal with that because we can talk about things and I can learn from them and we can just agree to disagree or debate. But what I find so frustrating and so baffling are the people who just don't care. How can you not care when you have so much power? Every single day, you have the power to change someone's life and not even know that you did it. I know that is such a massive statement to make. I know that's the kind of statement that sounds like it deserves to be on a bumper sticker. And I know that it's terrifying to think that we have that much power. But we do. So use it. Unabashedly care about the things that you care about, things that aren't about you. And make the things that you want to happen, happen. And I'm not talking about those grand acts of incredible leadership. Just do the everyday sort of things. Because I promise you that people are watching, and they will follow suit. I didn't want to talk to you about passions of mine. I'd be wasting my time because the things that I care about might make you change your ways for today. But right now, I'm looking at nearly 600 leaders with 600 passions, 600 visions for a better tomorrow. So to make you think for just today isn't good enough because the world out there is rough. And it doesn't need one leader and 600 followers. So be the change.